There's an old saying that goes, how a man or woman decides to wear their pants says a lot about who they are. Now, I don't know who said that, but I think we can both agree that that statement is true. And one of the most stark differences between Gen Z and millennials is how each generation goes about styling pants. Now, of course, the examples that I end up showing you in this video aren't going to be exemplary of all Gen Zers or all millennials, but it, we can't always be 100%. Today, we are going to try and settle a timelessly debated topic. Who does pants better, Gen Z or millennials? For the talk pantalones. For reference, I was born in the year 1997, which puts me right in the middle between both generational lines. There are a lot of things that resonate with me on my Gen Z side, and then on the inverse, there are a lot of things that I resonate with more on the millennial side of things when it comes to fashion. If you are a Gen Zer or a millennial, let me know down in the comments which generation you think dresses better. If you are outside of both of those generations, let me know which generational point of view that you are watching this from. Alright, what sort of pants does Gen Z or do Gen Zers wear? And comparatively, what sort of pants do millennials wear? When I think about Gen Z style, I think about a style dictated heavily by short form video social media interaction. Basically, that's just a long way to say TikTok. To me, TikTok and social media at large is the heartbeat of Gen Z's online cultural expression. And as a Gen Z TikTok user, the #1 fashion forward style of pants that I see on the platform are pants with wide-fitting silhouettes. To me, wide-fitting pants from Carhartt double knees in 2020 to parachute pants in 2021 to now just the mass adoption of wide-fitting denim is what Gen Z loves. Brands like Jaded London, Acne Studios, Bare Knuckles, and countless others have capitalized heavily on Gen Z's particular interest in wider silhouette pants. So if Gen Z has claimed that wide pants are the best or the most stylish version of pants for them, then what do millennials like? It's really interesting to talk about millennials from a standpoint of fashion and online fashion, because when I think about Gen Z, I immediately go to short form video, I immediately go to TikTok, and then I immediately go to like just the current era we're in for fashion. This era is dominated by Gen Z. But millennials also had a foothold in early social media, from MySpace to Tumblr to YouTube and apps like Vine and Twitter and things of that nature. So both generations do have and do pull from a lot of social media mass internet culture references for their personal style. Millennial fashion isn't the dominant fashion on social media anymore, but what we saw from millennials in the 2000s and 2010s still has lasting impressions.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
I'm just kidding, guys. Millennial fashion is defined by a much more subdued style, in my opinion, when it comes to pants than Gen Z. And I know a lot of people want to paint millennials as the generation that loves skinny pants, but I think we can all agree that the skinny jeans apocalypse that we all experienced in the 2010s is not something most people still live in or still partake in. Also, I'm not saying that wearing skinny jeans is bad by any means. If you like skinny jeans, wear skinny jeans. What I am saying is that millennials' pant style of choice sits somewhere in between straight fit and tapered leg pants often. Now, okay, before every millennial comes for me, it's really difficult to generalize an entire generation like this. You would agree with me, right? It's difficult to make a blanket statement like this because there are so many different versions of styles out there, especially for millennials. And in reality, there are a lot of Gen Zers who wear skinnier or more straight leg style fit of pants. And there are a lot of millennials that wear wider pants too. But using this as our framework, we can at least begin to compare the generational styles from Gen Z to millennials. If Gen Z likes wider fitting pants, then millennials like more straight leg or tapered fitting pants. That's the model we're going with. And I think I have the perfect example to tie in this idea of the contrasting generations. There is a store here in New York City that specializes in Japanese denim called 316. Lovely store, lovely people. I love 316. It's a great brand. They have, in a lot of ways, mastered the art of making Japanese selvage denim, but for the longest time, they only carried tapered, straight, or skinny style silhouettes of pants. But just last year, they rolled out their first wider fitting silhouette because they understand that the new generation of pant buyers want and like these sort of styles. It's a perfect example of how in the past, the pants that 316 carried catered more towards an older, more millennial audience, baby boomers, Gen Xers audience, while now the introduction of a wider fitting, more voluminous silhouette pair of Japanese selvage denim is more catered towards a new generation, and that generation being Gen Z. Gen Z wide pants, millennial straight or tapered leg pants. What I like about the way in which Gen Z goes about styling their pants is that Gen Z tends to create more interesting shapes with their outfits, with their pants, than millennials do. And I think the way Gen Z does it is really fun and really creative, especially for the time period we're currently living in. I think that the reason why Gen Z is able to kind of create a really fun take on what pants should be is that Gen Zers are younger, and so they're not really afraid to push the boundaries for what's acceptable for pant stylings, right? And for me, a lot of the most interesting outfits that I see online or in person come from people who are a part of Generation Z. I know a lot of millennials and just older generations compare Gen Z and how they wear wider pants to the Jinko pants that were very much so memeified in the 2000s and 2010s. I believe the Jinko jeans are from the 90s, but they've been super memeified. I don't know the time frame exactly because I was born in 1997. I don't know everything, okay? And while, you know, a lot of people do wear wide fitting pants that are, even for what I consider to be, are too wide or just too voluminous, I think that there's a smaller fraction of those people in comparison to those who wear wider pants tastefully. From trousers to denim to casual pants and dress pants, Gen Z, in my opinion, has successfully mastered the art of pulling off wide fitting pants, especially in a modern context. Niche style cues like when your pants have heel bite, or just the overall obsession with proportions and silhouette for this generation.
First off, I like bro that he knows his proportions. He knows what works on his body with like the tight jacket, the jeans, and then the shoes, and then the little accessories. It's like them little touches. Is
exemplary of Gen Z's style and their kind of style acumen, for lack of better words. Or I guess acumen is a good word. Acumen, do you know what that word means? I also love that because Gen Z has opened the gates for wider pants being more acceptable, pants just seem to be more comfortable. And maybe that's just my PTSD of living through the skinny jeans apocalypse of the 2010s.
No! God, please, no! No!
But yeah, Gen Z's got a lot going for it in this debate right now, I'm telling you.
What are your thoughts on baggy pants?
So
now, on the flip side, what I like about millennial style is that, to me, millennial style isn't as much as attention grabbing, and they aren't as much attention junkies as Gen Z seems to be. Gen Z loves attention, especially when they're posting on social media. There's a lot of maximalism, and there's just a lot of things going on with Gen Z style that says, look at me. Where millennials, they have a more subdued, more, if you know, nature to the way they dress, and I think they have something really special there in that, in my opinion. Now, this might be a really bold, controversial statement, but I think the best outfits comparatively, the best outfits from Gen Z and the best outfits from millennials, if you take both of these types of people and you put them against each other head to head, I think millennials actually edge out the better outfits more consistently at the top level, at the top 1% of outfit performance, if that makes sense. And by better, I mean that millennial outfits feel more timeless because they aren't necessarily pushing the boundaries of what is acceptable within fashion. They feel like they can be worn for a lot of years to come, millennial fashion and millennial style versus Gen Z style, which we will see how Gen Z style kind of, when we look back on it, how it will be perceived and what people will think about it. And I think one of the things that is beneficial to being more relatively conservative with the style of pants that you wear is that you kind of end up becoming a master at styling something that has been around for a decent amount of time, but also you just become a master at styling something that takes a little bit more care to do, right? Like I'm gonna be very curious to see how in the next 2, 3, 5 years how wide pants age, because straight fitting pants and taper jeans have been around for forever, and I think the way millennials have gone about styling these kind of things, and while adopting wide fitting pants in some variations too as well, let's not forget that they just do it very, very tastefully, in my opinion, right? Now this is the kicker for millennials that not a lot of people recognize or acknowledge, but more people should really think about this. A lot of mine and a lot of yours, even if you are Gen Z, style influences aren't Gen Zers. They're actually millennials or older, right? From celebrities like Tyler the Creator, Austin Butler, Rihanna, A$AP Rocky, Jennie from Blackpink. Trust me, the list goes on and on and on when we're talking about style references from celebrities or from influential people who are millennials and not Gen Z. In a lot of ways, I still think that the mainstream media is dominated by millennials or even previous generations. The only place that millennials, not the only place, but one of the biggest places that millennials seem to be falling behind in terms of cultural relevance is on social media and on the internet. But when it comes to pants and when it comes to fashion specifically, there is a lot to like about millennial style. And personally, I like to take from the past when it comes to generating my personal style more than I like to take from what's trendy right now, because I think the things from the past, like there's an air of just coolness and different generational things, right? But that's just me. Well, actually, I try to mix the past and the present a little bit more than probably what I'm saying, because I do wear a lot of wide pants, but that's neither here nor there. That's just me. What do? Like when you create your style, are you someone who takes from what's happening now, or do you try to generate your style from things that have existed in the past, whether it's like the 90s or 2000s or whatever it may be? Let's get a word in for today's sponsor, Squarespace. Are you interested in making your very own website for a brand or creative project? Squarespace offers a comprehensive amount of features to help you create the website that you've always wanted. If you want to sell your products direct to consumer, or if you want to showcase your body of work, Squarespace makes it easy to do that and more. Currently, I'm using my Squarespace website as a hub for all of my content and as a way to direct those interested to my podcast and social media. If you need a design to help nudge you into creating your first website, this is your sign. Visit squarespace.com/DrewJoyner for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Before I give my answer, who do you think dresses better when it comes to styling pants? Gen Z or millennials? And let me know down in the comments what you think my answer will be. Don't cheat. Bonus points if you can guess who I think takes the cake. When comparing the way in which Gen Z wears pants and the way in which millennials wear pants, there's a lot to like about both sides of the generational line. But to me, and this may hurt a lot of people's feelings when it comes to my audience, but to me, I think that Gen Z edges millennials just a bit more when it comes to the way in which pants can be styled tastefully, or should be styled tastefully, or not can be styled tastefully, but I just think Gen Z does it just slightly better than millennials.
Gen Z is definitely a lot more fashionable than millennials. Yeah, they grew up with TikTok and Instagram where they can see all of their favorite people, what they're wearing, and they can kind of emulate that.
Now, let me tell you why. Your pants are always going to be a central part of your outfit in my experience. The way in which Gen Z has used its creativity to reignite wider silhouettes into the mainstream, to me, is awesome. I do think there's a limit to me for how wide your pants can get before you start to look ridiculous, but wide fitting pants are more comfortable, create more interesting shapes, and are still very, very refreshing anytime I see a really cool wide fitting pair of pants. Some people might argue that it's getting saturated. It's what a lot of small, fast fashion, big, large, whatever brands are doing. But if I go outside right now in New York City, I still think comparatively, when I see someone wearing a straight fit or a taper fit, and I see a more kind of straighter, wider fit on the street, whether it's male, female, whatever it may be, like I'm giving the cake, or I'm giving the outfit nod to the person who's wearing something that's just a little bit more wider for my 26-year-old fashion contemporary brain, right? It doesn't mean the person who's wearing something that's straight or tapered can't have a good outfit, but for what I like, which fashion is incredibly subjective in that regard, I like seeing wider fitting pants, and I like wearing wider fitting pants and being a part of that kind of energy of the wide pant movement. Shout out wide pants. Wide pant movement. Straight fitting pants and tapered fitting pants will always be a great middle of the road option, a great safe option that, I mean, from a style standpoint, you really can't go wrong with either. In a lot of ways, those silhouettes symbolize timelessness because they are the symbols, the pants that older generations typically wear, right? A pigeon just flew on the window and just flew away. It's going to be really interesting to see how the next 2 to 5 years play out. Trust me, it really is. Because in the next 2 to 5 years, in the year 2028, we're going to look back on the time period that was 2019 to 2026. Millennials and Gen Zers and everyone will look back and say, we'll look at the clothing that came from that time period and we'll think to ourselves, like, was the clothing actually good? Right? Because I think for a lot of us, we think about the 2010s and part of the 20-teens and in the late to mid 2000s as slightly a wonky era of style. Slightly, right? Will we think back on the 2020s, the early 2020s, the 2019, 2024, 2023 time period as weird? Or will we look back and say, damn, like those styles, we need to bring some of those back. Just like how we do for like the 50s and the 60s and 70s and 80s and like the style time periods that we want to bring back to life because they ignite a level of excitement because of how cool the styles looked. The moment right now is Gen Z. And in 5 years from now, it'll probably be Gen Alpha because as Gen Z gets older, the new generation comes up with more bold, new, different creative ideas. And that just will inevitably happen. And I think for my sake of the argument, I do think that a lot of Gen Zers have influenced a lot more millennials to dress in the way that we deem as a Gen Z. This is my Gen Z side coming out. As we deem as cooler or better, as opposed to the opposite, which I just don't see as much going on where Gen Zers are looking to contemporary millennials and saying, yeah, we want to dress more like millennials. No, I think Gen Z is trying to leave its own impression, trying to leave its own mark. And for a lot of millennials, they're looking at the styles of younger people and they're saying, wow, there's some really interesting bits here that I can pull from that and use and take and style on my own. Did you guess right? Do you agree with me? Let me know down in the comments. I'm looking to do more Gen Z versus millennial videos in the future, depending on how well this one does. I'm going to be so curious to hear and see your guys' comments about this one down there. As always, I'm spreading peace, love, and positivity in 2024. So that means I'm spreading peace, love, and positivity to you and more. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful rest of your day. Abianto. Peace. Yo, what is good? Post vid. Here's the fist bump for the one time. Bop. Thank you so much for staying to the end of the video. Here's the second fist bump. Bop. We got an ambulance going by right now. It's New York City, man. It's live. Live from the concrete jungle. We're going crazy right now. Here it comes. Literally going right by. Okay. Now we're ready for the post-vid. Post-vid, how you been, guys? It's like sunny, it's cloudy, it's weird. Spring is coming here in the northern hemisphere if you're in the south. Fall is coming if you're in Australia or something like that. New Zealand, I'm sorry for you. Well, you know, there's nothing wrong about fall. Winter is just tough. This is like our first winter in New York City. We're getting through, we're making it through. The post-vid question of the day, okay? Which generation you think watches more of the post-vid? Gen Z or millennials? Now, when it comes to the post-vid, you got to have attention span. You got to be able to watch a video all the way through and actually care enough about the content. And I don't know if Gen Z does that. So I'm going to give the post-vid victory to millennials. I think more millennials and more other generations other than millennials watch the post-vid because they care and they have an attention span where Gen Z, unfortunately, doesn't really have an attention span. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you next week. Peace.